Today I'm going to build an AI podcast repurposing engine live in front of you that takes as input a YouTube link to a podcast and then outputs 10 or more high quality social media posts, all beautifully formatted and ready to go. The reason I'm doing this video is because I wanted to show you guys what a live build process looks like from start to finish. So I'm actually going to narrate my thoughts out loud. I'm actually going to walk you guys through what my process looks like at every step of the way and really just give you guys an in-depth look into the actual building of a system, not just the finished product. Without further ado, let's get into it. So the way that this works is we start with a form submission where I put in the URL of a podcast. I then get the transcript via a third-party service, which costs 1 cent per transcript, so something like 100 podcasts per dollar. Then we will use OpenAI to get a bunch of data, spin different transcript sections and do different things, which I'll run through in a moment. We'll then split that out, loop over each item, and then here we will generate Instagram posts, LinkedIn posts, Facebook posts before finally generating the concomitant images as well. We'll then do some data processing. Then we'll add it to a database. And finally, we'll just do some merge and then update a form. And what happens on the back end is once we've done all this posting, what we're doing is we're essentially updating a database. It looks something like this, okay? Very simple and easy to manage. 4-column database called date added, post body, post image, posted on with the platforms that we want to post to down below. And our system is essentially once a day, I just set this to run every morning at 7, checking through this database to see what new additions we've made. So in this way, our system is entirely dynamic and it never overwhelms the service that we're posting on. We can generate 10 or 20 or 50 new posts across all these platforms, and then we can just drip them out according to some schedule that we predefined. After we've checked the Instagram posts, I then upload to Instagram using their Graph API, which I'll run you guys through before updating the Google Sheets database. And we do the exact same thing with the LinkedIn posts. It's just we need to do an HTTP request for that, and then the Facebook posts as well. In terms of what this looks like live, let me actually test this puppy out. Let's test this workflow. See a new form that's just opened. I'm just going to feed in a podcast right over here to this insert a podcast get content endpoint. Second when that's done, as we see in the background, we are now getting the transcript via a third-party web service, one of my favorite web services, Apify, which I'll cover over the course of the video. This transcript is going to come to us very nice and perfectly manicured. And then after that, we feed that to this OpenAI module. This OpenAI module's job is basically outputting a very big JSON that contains an index with the number, the paragraph transcript, some context and feedback, and then a deep explanation of what the section that I'm talking about is, along with an image description that we can use to generate some JPEGs. Then I have some rules down here. Because we're feeding in a relatively long transcript to a model that has a context window of 128,000 tokens, it takes a fair amount of time to do this run. It's usually about 30 seconds or so. But after that, we're going to split it out and continue. And then as you can see, we are now generating the posts and then adding them. So we just did Instagram. Now we're doing LinkedIn. And finally, we'll do Facebook as well. If we go back to our database, you can see that we're actually adding these as we speak. And so this is populating that sort of middle ground database, which I like. Now on the back end, now that we've added these, what we can do is we can test this workflow pretty easily. So we're going to upload to Instagram first. We're going to post on Instagram. And we're also going to update the Google Sheets database to tell us that it's posted. We're going to do the same thing with LinkedIn. And LinkedIn, we need an HTTP request to do. And we're going to add that there as well. And we can actually see these live. We'll just wait for this to finish posting. But if I refresh my LinkedIn company page, you can see the post has actually been made. Actually, I've done 2 because I just did one other test. But I chose like a pretty friendly kind of style here. I figured that I don't know, some company that did watercolor styles. Obviously, my actual brand Left Click is not like that at all. But yeah, just wanted to give you guys some freedom here. You guys can generate these images however you want. Alex Hormozi's doing a lot of this stuff recently, which I find interesting. He's applying a specific style to a specific type of content. And then, yeah, we've now posted them across all, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn, which is pretty cool. And then if we go back to our database, back over here, you'll see that we now have the posted on fields as done, which means that we have essentially just ran through our database and, posted and dripped these out over time as opposed to all at once. Okay, so I've yet to actually build the system at this point in the video, but first thing I always like to cover before I actually do the system is why am I doing the system? Is the system important? Does this solve a problem? Ideally, you would start with the problem and then you build a system that solves that problem, not the other way around. I think a lot of people are kind of putting the cart before the horse and they're building the system before actually having a need for it. So I know for sure that the system is worthwhile and solves problems because I talk with people all the time that have these exact customer problems, and you can sell this system or you could build this system yourself to solve those problems in your own business. What are some issues? Well, AI podcast repurposing engine solves the content need. So it allows us to generate a large amount of content from just one long form episode. Allows us to reach a much larger audience with the same marginal amount of effort, zero additional recording time, which is cool. We get to maximize the content investment. And then if you wanted to sell this, that's why we put this in a different color here. You could do so for a $1,000 to maybe $2,000 service, I would say, just because it's very simple. It runs in the background. I'll show you guys a simple input method to like make all this stuff work and look hunky-dory. And yeah, very straightforward, not at all difficult. So that gets us to the more important question, which is how. And the how is what we are going to be dealing with in this video. What I'm thinking of doing, and I got like 2 or 3 nodes in for, I was like, I should probably record a video on this, is we're going to start with some YouTube podcast URL input, okay? So what I'm thinking is we're going to have some form or something, probably a form, where I can fill in the URL of the podcast that I want to generate content for. And this is the simplest way I can think of doing this. Sure, you could do this automatically. You could track podcast posts on a YouTube channel, whatever. But I'm just going to do a form, so we'll trigger it manually. And then from there, we're going to grab the transcript somehow. So the variety of different ways you can grab transcripts in actuality of videos, the simplest is Apify, but you could also do something like OpenAI's Whisper. I mean, to be honest, there's like 500 of these, so I'm not going to go super in depth there. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the transcript of the YouTube video, and then I'm going to feed it into a big content router. And this is where the rest of my system is sort of going to come into play from. So what I'm thinking is we're basically going to need like some sort of GPT call, some AI call. Let's just call it like a large language model call. Probably use GPT-4 or maybe 4.5. And then this is going to generate me some specific like Instagram content. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing with, another GPT-4 call. And then I'm going to generate probably like some Facebook content. As of the time of this recording, the Twitter API, or the X API, I should say, is like $200 a month or something like that. So I'm not going to pay for that for this video, and I don't think a lot of people will either. So we're just going to skip Twitter or X for now. But then we're going to do like some LinkedIn content. And also what I think would be really cool is if I give you guys everything you need to actually like clip. So there's a couple of platforms out there. One's called Opus Clip, and there are a few other ones where basically you can feed in a longer video, then you can actually generate clips from that video. Using AI timestamping and stuff. Now, unfortunately, these guys don't have an open API, so you can't actually just like have your API call and then use that to generate. But I'm going to give you everything you guys need in order to do so, and I'll actually walk through the API most likely. So what I'm thinking is we're going to use a GPT, and then maybe we'll like generate timestamps. And for now, we're just going to like have all those timestamps be generated with all the rest of the content you need, maybe like some hashtags and everything. And then, you can either feed this into some sort of flow for an editor or whatever, and then have it generate a bunch of stuff. Okay. So there's nothing really magic here. I mean, I'm just recombining components of different things that I've built before in the past, but I just wanted to run you guys through what my thought process is at this point in the process. This is what I think it's going to look like. Okay. And everything sounds nice before you actually get into the building, but let's start there. Okay. So I'm just going to use this as our roadmap. And then for now, we're actually just going to jump back over here to N8N. I have a little N8N workflow set up called AI Podcast Repurposing Engine. So really, if you think about it, like what is the first step? Well, what a lot of people like to do is they like to start at the beginning and then work their way forward. But I actually kind of like to start at the end and then work my way backward. Now, the end is relative in this case, but I actually want to go scrape the thing with Apify first. Like I want to scrape the YouTube video and I want to verify or guarantee that I can actually generate the transcript. That's kind of the first thing that comes to mind. Like maybe it's intuition or just because I've dealt with a lot of these projects, but that usually is the rate limiting step. It's like, hey, can we get the data that we are planning on doing all this fun stuff with? Because if you can't get the data, you can't really do anything else, right? So let's first of all verify we can actually get the data. So in order to do so, I'm on this platform called Apify. Basically, this is just like a big marketplace for scrapers that other people purpose built that allow you to do things like get YouTube transcripts. And they build out all the logic for you. You don't have to do any of the math yourself. What I'm going to do is I'll just type YouTube transcript. And then there are a variety of scrapers that come up here that say that they could do our job, what we're looking for. But I'm just going to go to pricing models, go pay per result, just because you could rent scrapers, you could pay for usage. But in my case, I like to pay for the end result. I care most about the deliverable. So how much money am I going to spend per transcript? And usually what I do at this point is I just open up 2 or 3 of these, and then I just very quickly compare them. So that's what we're doing now. Let's see. This one allows us to extract 1 or thousands of YouTube transcripts fast, save time and effort. Okay. JSON, XML, HTML. The reviews are pretty low, but this is $7.50 per thousand. That seems okay. Let's check out this one. Same idea, $10 per thousand. All right. This one, $7 per thousand. All right. Well, I mean, to be honest, seems like kind of a wash. They're all about the same. I mean, they all have 1 or 2 reviews. So let's just scroll down a bit and see if I can get some information on what I get. Looks like they will return me a big list of all of the captions. So that's cool. Is there one that just gives me the whole thing in one big block? Like that'd be nice. This would be pretty nice. Yeah. So include timestamps, no, and then I just get a giant list. Let's do that. Yeah. Clean transcript. Okay. I like this one more now. And then do I just get one big transcript here? No, I get the timestamps and stuff. Listen, I think the timestamps are valuable, but I think that the first run, I'm not going to use that. I'm just going to use the without the timestamps. So let's give these guys a go. $10 per 1,000 results. I don't know if this is going to work, so I'm actually just going to try it out on a YouTube video. Why don't I do it on one of mine? Let's just go to Nick Sarayev. Yeah, let's do the prompt engineering video. And that's 53 minutes. This one's 40. I mean, like the longer the video is, probably the longer the transcripts are going to take, but whatever. For testing purposes, this is probably fine. So I'm going to paste in my own here. No timestamps. So I'm just going to get like the whole thing in one big block, hopefully. And then I'm just going to click save and start. And so Apify, the way that it works is it'll spin up a server actually in the background. So this is now like a server somewhere on the internet that has been spun up that is now running this scraping script that this other person put together. And I'm basically going to be charged what I think is 1 cent, if my math is correct, per video that I get the transcript for. So obviously very economical for testing purposes. And then you just pay either a monthly amount or something else, and then they bill you. So in my case, I use it a lot, which is why it's at $100 so far. But yeah, let's see if this one works. And of course, sometimes it doesn't work. I mean, these are scrapers other people build, right? I mean, this looks pretty good. All right, now, yeah, this looks pretty good to me. So now that I have this, let's just export this result. Let me just see what this looks like with all fields in a Google Sheet first. Again, my whole goal is I just want to verify, hey, can I get the data that I'm looking for? If I can get the data I'm looking for, everything else is really easy. So now I'm going upload and I'm just going to drag and drop this. And I'm doing it manually first, and then we'll worry about the automating part later. We're probably going to have to call some APIs, right? Okay, so it looks like it returns the URL, returns the video title. Okay, that's cool. And then boom, we have the whole transcript. How many words is this really? Now I'm starting to think, okay, there's a lot of words. 8,000 words? Okay, so let me think about this. Usually people speak at about like 200 words a minute, approximately 150, 200 words a minute. So if I were to feed in an hour-long podcast, which is pretty standard, my content's kind of like that, I'd probably have like 10,000 or so words. That's a lot of words. Is AI going to actually be able to deal with this? So I'm starting to think, all right, there are probably some edge cases here where I might feed in like a 2-hour-long podcast and there's going to be too many words, too many tokens for the context window. So I'm kind of keeping that in mind. But anyway, I'll kind of shelf that for now and we'll cross that bridge if and when we get to it. Obviously, I've shown that this works. So what do we actually do now? Well, the way that Apify works is you can actually just get a webhook call. Like when the actor is completed, you will get a notification. There's also an API, and I don't think that N8N has a built-in Apify node yet. Right, okay. So I'm just going to go to the Apify API. I'll go Apify API, and then, API stands for Application Programming Interface, obviously. If you guys are unfamiliar with how to use APIs and stuff like that, I got a bunch of videos where I walk you guys through what that looks like. But essentially what I'm looking for, so I think I'm looking for run tasks synchronously and get dataset items. I think. I'm not 100% sure. This looks good to me. I mean, there's so many dang endpoints on the left-hand side. That's honestly pretty difficult for me to say for sure what's what. I see a couple that look similar. Actor, tasks, run tasks synchronously, and then there's run actor synchronously. Not really sure what the difference is here. Return output or get dataset items. I feel like it's probably going to be get dataset items, right? All right, anyway, I think I'm going to do this. Now that I have the API call here, what's really cool is in N8N, you can just copy all of this, right? So I see there's this little copy button. I'm just going to click that. I'll go back here and then I'll go HTTP request. I'll go import curl, feed this in, okay? And it'll actually map the whole API request for me. So it's already done all of the work. All I need to do is I need to swap in my authorization token. And then I think I need to do one more thing. I need to feed in an input right over here. Okay. So first things first, I'm going to get my authorization token now. How do I do that? Well, Apify probably has an API key thing somewhere, right? So I'll go settings, I guess. Yep. API and integrations right over here. Let's create a new token. Let's just call this YouTube temporary because I'm just going to delete it afterwards. Do I want to limit the permissions? No, I don't think so. I'm just going to click create and see what happens. Okay. YouTube temporary right over here. Let's copy this. Let's delete a couple of these because odds are I've probably totally forgotten to delete them on previous videos. So I have so many. Anyway, I'll paste the token right over here. That looks good. And then if you think about it, like, what do I need? Looks like I need an actor ID here. So where's that going to be? That's probably, most of the time actors will put the ID up here. Yeah, I think so. So that's probably the ID. That's usually the ID for most of these services. So I'm just going to grab this, paste this in. And then I need to feed in the actual website that I'm going to use, right? So I don't know how that looks, but usually on Apify, they'll show you, if you go to JSON, they'll show you what the data looks like. Okay, so check this out. Include timestamps, no start URLs to website. So what I'm actually going to do is just copy this. Then I'll go back to my n8n flow, sorry. And I'm jumping around a lot. And then under body content type, I'll go using JSON. And then I'll just paste this in, okay? Okay, so this is fixed right now, right? I'm just feeding in one URL, but I'm okay with that. I just want to test and see if this works. So let's see if there's any issue with my syntax or something. Let's see. And if there are any bugs, I keep all of them in the video so you guys can see what my thought process is. It's taken quite a while to do, which I think is positive. If I go back to Apify, we go to runs. Okay, it looks like it's starting the crawler. So I've actually initiated the crawler using my API call. It looks like it is now done. Okay. If I go back here, oh, nice. Looks like I got the data. Awesome. So I have the transcript done. All right. So, I mean, that was really easy, right? Super, super easy. Very straightforward. Why don't I rename this and then I'll just call it get transcript via Apify. There you go. And now I can go back here. And if you think about it, I could actually kind of like just check this first box. Okay. So, or check both of these boxes. Actually, I'm not done that. I'm just done this. Let's make this really thick. There you go. So that step is done. So the YouTube podcast URL input step now. So if you think about it now, what do I need to do? I need to verify that I can actually get input in, right? So in n8n, as you guys know, there are a bunch of different triggers I could do. This one's just a test workflow trigger. What I'm going to do is I'll go back here, and then what I want is I want just a form. So I'll go n8n form, then I'll go on a new form event. So what I'll say is insert a podcast, get content. Hey, this is a AI podcast repurposing engine. If you insert a YouTube link to a podcast, we'll generate a bunch of formatted content for you and post to relevant social media platforms. Okay, what here I will say is YouTube, maybe podcast, let's just go YouTube URL, right? Field type will be, what do we got? I guess we'll just do text. And then I'll say it's required. And then I think that should be good. Yeah, let's now test this. Let's, where was that URL a moment ago? Oh, here we go. Let's copy this link. I got it right over here. So I'm going to paste this in now. Insert a podcast, get content. Very cool. I'm going to submit it. Okay, cool. So I can get the content, which is nice. So now I'm just going to feed this in as my variable. I should probably keep the one clicking test workflow actually, because that'll just allow me to test the flow really easily. But anyway, as you can see, I got the form submission. So what do I have to do now? Well, now I'm just going to make this dynamic. I'll go expression. Then I'll open up this big thing in an editor. And then right over here where it says start URLs, I'm actually just going to feed in one start URL. It's going to be this YouTube URL. So this is the result. This is what it's going to look like. That looks good to me. Cool. Automation is mapped. We are good to go, baby. Everything should be fine. Awesome. And I think what I'll do here is I'll probably pin the output as well, just so I can always run this on the exact same video. Okay, cool. All right. So now what we have done is we have submitted our form and we've also gotten the transcript. Now the next question is, how are we going to generate content for Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, then also maybe some timestamps or some hashtags or something? Like we just need some way to generate video ideas. Maybe we could even use HeyGen. That might be pretty cool, actually. That'd be pretty interesting. Maybe I'll screw around with that. If you guys have seen the demo already, you guys are like, well, obviously he's going to use HeyGen, right? But I'm not at that point yet. Okay. Instagram content here. Let's think about this. So I need to now create, I need to have some sort of way to spin up 3 or 4 different model calls. Then for each route, I need to produce something. So I need to produce some Instagram content, some Facebook content, some LinkedIn content, some timestamps, hashtags, whatever. So I guess what I'll do here is, do they have a router here? No, they don't really have a router. So I think I have to use a merge node. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to do this. I don't know for sure, but whatever. Let's do OpenAI. So go to OpenAI, and then I'm going to message a model right over here. Then I have all my credentials already connected, so I'll just use the YouTube February 4th one. But if you don't know how to do this, it's pretty easy. You just go like to your OpenAI dashboard, and then you grab the API key, and then you don't need the organization ID anymore, which is nice. And then just do the connection. So once I have this, let's think resource text, message a model. Okay, I'm just going to select a model right now, and I'm going to make it like, let me check model context windows. OpenAI. Do we have a list? I just want the one with the biggest context window right now, to be honest. Okay, we got a couple. Let's just check all of them. Let's just compare all these. Context. Okay, there you go. So I can see it says context window. So 128,000, 128,000, 200,000, 128,000, 128,000. All right, well, I mean, if you think about it, they're all 128,000. How many tokens is 10,000 words? 7,000. So we should actually be good. Maybe I was a little bit ahead of myself here. We should be good. I'm going to use the GPT-4o for now, and then I'll figure the rest out later. So yeah, let's go to that. So I'm going to use GPT-4o. This is the one. Let's go back to my init flow, and let's just go 4o. Zoom in a bit for all y'all. What I think makes the most sense at this point is we should probably have one model generate a bunch of things to talk about first, based off the transcript. Then we feed those things to talk about to other models, and then they'll take those items and then they'll use them to generate stuff. I think that makes the most sense. So you are a helpful, intelligent, let's say content writing assistant that works with transcripts. What I always do is I start with a system prompt, okay? System is just how the model identifies. And I find that when you make the model identify really good at something, it's very, you're helpful and intelligent, and you work with transcripts, it's just more likely to do a slightly better job working with those things. Next up, I add a user prompt. So here's where I actually define the task. So you take as input a long meandering transcript, and you identify the most interesting, let's say the 10 most interesting engaging points. You then generate a JSON containing those interesting engaging points in this structure. Let's do this. So now we're going to go JavaScript object notation. And what I want to do is I want to give it a good structure. So the first thing I'm going to do is I will say sections. Let's do that. Then I'm going to generate an array. Okay. We're going to start with this array over here. And I know this isn't like actually proper formatting, but that's okay. Now what I want is I want another object inside of that. Sorry, I was wrong. Where basically I generate this. We're going to have number, and then I'm just going to put 1. Then over here, I'm going to say paragraph transcript, paragraph of the relevant part of the transcript goes here. Okay, this is actually getting really annoying. I thought I could like make this look nice, but I can't. So I'm just going to go to JSON formatter. It's a lot easier. Just format it automatically, take care of this for you. Okay, cool. Let's just copy this, and now we can paste this back as the intro. So number 1, paragraph transcript, paragraph the relevant part of the transcript goes here. So basically I want it to clip a part of the transcript. Then I also want it to like generate something else. Description of section, a description of why this point is interesting, and some ways to make it even better. And then in addition, I love having AI do this sort of like meta stuff where you give it a piece of content and then it actually takes the piece of content and does something with it. Like it provides critique. It comes up with some new way to do it better or something. And then I also want one other thing. I want like deep explanation, and I'll say a 1 paragraph write-up based on the transcript section that expands upon its points, clarifies any ambiguities, generally fills in the blanks. Okay, let's just run with that. I think this is going to work pretty well. So this is going to be the JSON structure that it's going to generate, right? Something like this. Is this an optimal or ideal prompt? No, not really. It's pretty lengthy, to be honest, but that's okay. Generate 10 points. The transcript, okay, is below. I'm going to add another message, and here's going to be the user. And what I'm going to do here is I'm actually just going to feed in the transcript. So we can't get it out, so we actually have to run it one more time. So let me just test this while this is testing. Basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the actual transcript right over here. Then I'm going to have the assistant return the message afterwards. Let's go output content as JSON. Let me see if there's anything else I need. Temperature, I always like to set a little bit lower. I just find it gets kind of too interesting. And then let's actually add let's put some rules down here. Write in a Spartan conic tone of voice. Copy the transcript sections exactly as they are. Look for unorthodox or interesting ways to make let's change this to context and feedback to make the content better in the context and feedback object. Cool. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to feed in the transcript right over here. Let's actually feed in the video title too. That'll provide even more context. Cool. And then let's just run this and see what happens. This is a very long transcript, right? It's a long ass transcript. So we want to make sure that the content that it generates is good. So because of this, you know, if you think about it from my perspective, I'm at the point where I'm trying to do this. I need to make sure that I understand what the video is about if I'm using it as a test, and that I can meaningfully evaluate the output to see that it's good and not just like total make-believe stuff. Now, this is very long. Because it's very long, it's obviously going to take a while to do. It's also going to cost a fair number of input tokens. So let's actually figure out how much this would cost realistically. Inputs $2.50 per, what is this, per million? Per million tokens. All right, well, that's really not that big of a deal. I just fed in like 12,000 tokens or something. So 12,000 is 10,000 is 1/100th of 1 million. So 1/100th of this is 2.5 cents, I believe. So it cost me 2.5 cents to do. That's not a big deal at all. Okay, we got the output. Very interesting. Very cool, very cool. I want it way longer. I don't like how long the section is right now. I think that we could do a lot better if it was longer. Yeah, I mean, this is just like 5 words. Okay, well, it's very interesting because I'm the one that created this content, so I understand what I was talking about. And it actually basically went through top to bottom and just extracted the various points I was making. It's like, okay, point 1, this, point 2, that, point 3, that. Make sure your paragraph transcript string is longer than just 1 sentence. Try and capture at least 1 whole paragraph of the transcript. Okay, so I'm just going to test this again. And while it's running, which is going to take a little bit of time, I'm going to go next. And now that I have this, I think what we can do is we can just have another 3 or 4, depending on the content. And then I'll paste a bunch in. So this might be like Facebook. This might be Instagram. This might be LinkedIn. This might be another one. And then I'll combine them all with a merge node just into like one big object. Or hold on a second. Actually, what I think I'll do, we should probably add these to a Google Sheet or something instead of just post them, right? Like it'd be silly to post all these immediately. So we should probably just add them to a Google Sheet. What are you going to do? Post 10 pieces of content immediately on all platforms? You'd need some serious nuts to do that. So it's probably not the best move. Okay. Well, let me cross our bridge when I get to it. I guess for now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to generate a bunch of content. So yeah, you can actually have multiple routes like this pretty easily that just stretch. And then as long as you have a merge node at the end that combines the outputs, we'll just run them all. So I guess we could do this. We could post, or we could just add all these to a Google Sheet or something afterwards. Anyway, this looks good. Yeah, this is a lot longer. Cool. Nick introduced the first major hack. Okay. ChatGPT to write a story about peanuts. Cool. All right. So where are we at right now? We just generated the transcript. Now we've just generated something which we can use to route the content later. So that's good. So now we just need to go through our routes. So I'm just going to do an Instagram content route first, then a Facebook content route, then a LinkedIn content route, and then finally, we'll figure that out afterwards. So why don't I go over here and I'll click rename, Instagram post generator. Now, the first thing I'm going to want to do is I'm just going to figure out what the guidelines are for this. So what are Instagram post length restrictions or something? Looks like we can write 2,200 characters. We truncate the caption at 125. We have 30 hashtags. That seems pretty reasonable. So basically what I need to do is I just need to shorten it and then say write under 2,200 characters. How many words is that? 300 words? So I'll just have it generate me like a short snippet, like a paragraph, basically 2 paragraphs or something. That sounds good. I'm back over here. So Instagram post generator, what I'll do is I'm going to write a new prompt. Your helpful, intelligent content writing assistant that generates Instagram posts. You take as input information about a point. I just realized I'm going to have to change the structure here because we can't just feed in all this, right? A section of a transcript along with some observations about that section and some points of feedback, and use it to generate clean, beautifully formatted Instagram posts in this format. We will do Instagram post. We will then do, we're only going to do one post. A clean, beautifully formatted Instagram post in this format. We'll do Instagram post, and then since it's just one, I think we can actually just go Instagram post copy. Then we'll go copy goes here. Then what I'll do is I will take this and maybe we'll generate an image with this as well and then feed that back. So right in a Spartan laconic tone of voice, copy any transcript sections. No, let's not do that. Instagram posts, truncate after a paragraph. Right? An engaging first paragraph, and then context around the rest of the point underneath that paragraph. At the end of the post, add hashtags. Let's say 5 relevant hashtags. And then, yeah, that should be pretty good. Just leave that there. Then I'll say right over here. Oh yeah, so I can't actually map this until I figure out the structure, right? So basically what we're gonna have to do, if you think about it, is we need to loop over all these. So a variety of different ways you could do the looping. You could, we're gonna have to aggregate this, I think, because it outputs one item, as you see up here, and we need it to output like a more than one item if we wanted to do the loop automatically. Also, just in historically, if we hit all these up immediately and we just try and do 10 API calls simultaneously, it usually just breaks the N8N flow because we hit rate limits and stuff. N8N doesn't have very good like built-in rate limits, so I'll probably do the loop over items split in batches. If you've never used this before, the way this works is you feed in the item, and then what it'll do is it'll loop over all of that data over and over and over and over again until you reach the last item, and then it'll go down the done route. So yeah, I think what I'm going to do is this replace me thing is about to be replaced. So I just want to make sure I can actually feed multiple routes into this. Can I? Does that work? Yeah, okay, I should be able to do this. Cool. This is going to be a very complicated looking system. I'm sure it's going to sell well on YouTube anyway. So I'm going to loop over now. And what I need to do in the loop over items node is I need to feed in just this array. So how do I feed in just the array? Well, as input to this loop over items node, I'm going to use the split out. Yes, we need this. So the fields that we're going to split out are going to be this sections array. We feed in the sections array. If we test this now, we should get 10 items. 1, 2, 3, 4, perfect. Now that we have these 10 items, we can actually feed that output into the loop over items. So we're going to split out these 10 items, and then we're going to go one at a time, basically, calling all of these APIs. Okay, now that we've kind of figured all that stuff out, awesome, we can actually get going with the Instagram post generator. Let's click on this again, and then, well, we need to execute the previous nodes if we want to get all of the data. So we have those 10 items now. What am I going to do? Well, I'm just going to feed in this specific item. So I will say transcript. I'm going to feed this in. Oh, we need to index the item now. The reason why we have to index the item is this just doesn't know which item we're specifically referring to. What we're going to have to do is we're going to have to, it's going to grab this first. It's not able to get the specific one, is it? I don't know. I guess we'll find out. The way that N8N does their items is always sort of interesting. I did execute the previous node, so I'm not getting this preview, which is annoying. Let me go back over here. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so you can, it's just when you use the split in batches, sometimes there's a problem with the way that it's rendered. Anyway, cool. So we're just feeding in these variables directly one at a time, right? Because we only receive one item as an output. Cool, cool, cool. So awesome. Well, let's just give this a try and let's see what happens, all right? I don't want to feed in all 10 items. So what I'm going to do is I will just test this out on one item. So I think if I just click test tab, we're only going to run this once, not 10 times, which is nice. Okay, unlock the full potential of GPT models. My top 3 prompt engineering hacks from my journey since 2019 with GPT-2 to leveraging these tools in every business. I've gathered insights that will transform your approach. Ready to elevate ChatGPT from your tool to autonomous team player? Let's dive in. No, I do not like this. I think this is written pretty poorly. So, points, no leading questions, emojis. Write like a business professor talking bluntly to his students. Let's try this one more time. Except simpler. Favor words with fewer syllables. Cool. Let's try that one more time. Okay, I mean, this looks substantially better already, which is nice. Cool. Now we've generated an Instagram post. We can do a couple things with this if you think about it. We could also like generate an image with this. So I don't believe we're at the point where the image generator that is being used is the new GPT-4o image generator. I think we're still using Dolly. What I'm going to do though is I'll see if I could feed in the previous description. An image that represents the concept. Let's see if we generate an image, what's going to happen. See how trash this is. There are a variety of other things that we could do as well. Or we could like generate some branded stuff. Cute little kawaii anime like cartoon characters or something. That'd be sweet. Unfortunately, I can't use the OpenAI API like the awesome one. Yeah, I'm not a fan of this stuff. It's kind of trashy. An image, hand-drawn cartoon style, should have one character in the middle. That's all. Let's just try that. My prompt engineering has gotten substantially simpler over the course of the last few months. Let's put it that way. Unfortunately, getting spoiled talking to these extraordinarily smart models. So when you talk to a dumber one, it takes a little bit of time to get up and running. Okay, let's view this puppy. What are we looking at here? Hispanic speakers. Hand-drawn cartoon style. Let's just say hand-drawn cartoon. And let's go over here and have this just generate one additional object. Short image description. A one-sentence description of an image that illustrates the concept. The description must have one simple character, like a bunny or an animal. And be catered to kids' audience, to a younger audience. Let's do that. That looks good to me. So now I'm just going to have to test this, and I'm actually going to have to produce the outputs here because I'm then going to need to split them out and then loop them over the items and then do my post generation, which is nice. Give that a try. And this done route, I'll probably end up putting underneath, to be honest, because this is going to be pretty chunky. Maybe I should just do all of this here. Yeah, you know what? I'll probably do it all over here, actually. We'll have an Instagram post generator, OpenAI image, or maybe we should just generate the OpenAI image before the Instagram post generator now that I'm thinking about it, because then we can just use the Instagram post and all the other stuff that we need to do. Anyway, let's see how that goes. Just testing these one by one here. And then let's now test this. Oh, sorry, I used the wrong one here. What we want is loop over items, and we want, oh, yeah, sorry, I need one more piece of instruction, no text. Description should never talk about text. Okay. All right. So what are we going to do here? We are going to hand-drawn cartoon style. Then we're going to feed this in. Maybe we'll go colorful watercolor. colorful soft watercolor of a bunny stacking colorful blocks. This isn't going to be ideal because it's going to say a bunny with text in it. That's not really what we want the image to do. Let's turn on respond with image URLs, by the way. Can we go style? Hyper real and dramatic? No, we want natural. I just made some changes, so that looks pretty cute. Yeah, I think we could probably do that. And then what do we want for quality? Standard or HD? No, we're probably good with standard. And then we want resolution. Got a couple of different options here. Let's go Instagram post resolution. 1080 by 1080. So 1024 by 1024 is reasonable. Like, it's not going to be as pretty, but I think it's going to be pretty good. And yeah, this one has text in it, but like, imagine we're just going to get rid of most of that text in future ones. So that should actually be pretty fine. Maybe you have some branded channel that does something like this, or I don't know. Like, if you think about it, there's like 3 or 4 major styles that you could have AI generate, right? You could do like some sort of hand-drawn stuff. If you want to be serious, you could do. If you just check out like Alex Hormozzi's, let's check this out here. Hold on. Yeah, stuff like this, right? Now he's using GPT-4o image to do that, but as I'm sure you can imagine, if you just have some style like this, and it's like a standardized style, then you can generate like an almost infinite amount of content with a podcast clip. There's another one in Simpson style. I think he's publishing a ridiculous amount of content. I mean, this is like a week ago and he has like 50, right? So that would probably be my thoughts. That's probably how I do it. Since we're using DALL-E, it's not going to be as clean, but I imagine we're probably going to have access to that API pretty soon. Okay, so Instagram post generator, and then here we will call this generate image. Now this will also return an image link. So if I generate this new one now, we should have an image URL, right? The image URL, we can just feed directly into the Instagram post node. We're feeding in some additional parameters here, so it's going to change how long it takes to generate. Looks like it did some revisions. Oh, that's cute. I like this. Yeah, nice. Okay, we have everything. We can actually go to, I think what we need is the Facebook Graph API, could be, where we make a post. Yeah, most likely. So, okay, I'm probably going to have to muck around with this for a bit before I can figure out exactly. And I think in order to do this, the credential that we set up, we have to get an access token, which we generate from something else. So it's going to take me a minute to figure that out, and I'm just going to allow that to be the last thing that I do. From here, though, as you can see, we have a pipeline that we can use to generate everything else. So now I just duplicate these, right? So Instagram post generator, very cool. Let's go over here and then let's go LinkedIn post generator. Then down over here, let's go, what else did we have? Facebook post generator, right? Now we just have to like very lightly change the parameters, the prompt basically. So instead of Instagram post, we'll say Facebook post copy, Facebook post, then no hashtags. Facebook post, let's say Facebook post copy guidelines. Okay, so this is what looks like a landscape photo. So we're going to have to generate a slightly different image size for that. Okay, and then I don't really think there's any text restrictions. You'd probably go pretty long. This one is not wired up right now, which is why we're getting that. So let's go here. Oh, sorry, was this the LinkedIn? Was I just editing that on the LinkedIn one? Probably. Oh, yeah, my bad. Well, let's go LinkedIn post copy. LinkedIn post. And then this one here is LinkedIn. Anything else here say Instagram? I don't think anything else here says Instagram, so we're probably good. LinkedIn post. Okay, well, what's the LinkedIn post guidelines? So LinkedIn post, first of all, let's set the dimensions. So it's widescreen as well. Let's see when it truncates. All right, so honestly, it's very similar to Instagram realistically. I'm just not going to make any adjustments to this. This is going to be a good nugget that anybody could use to build out like more nuanced or higher quality systems, I would say, by mucking around with the prompt, making it a little bit better. And then here, we're going to generate a LinkedIn image. Just because this doesn't allow you to change the, have multiple of the same titles, I'm just going to like add some acronyms here, like Facebook image and stuff, just so that we can have different titles on them. This LinkedIn image is not going to be at 1024. We're going to have to make it like wider screen, right? So sorry, I've already forgotten this one. LinkedIn post resolution. This is, well, actually we can do both. We can do 1080 by 1080 pixels. So actually, I'm just going to do 1080. So yeah, I'm just going to do square. I think Facebook was the one that was wider screen, right? Yeah, so I'm going to go 1024 by 1024. That looks fine to me. It was the Facebook one that I think was different. It was 1792. So this is about as wide as we can get. It's not the best, but I think we'll just deal with it for now. Okay, I'm going to do that here. Okay, cool. So now we're basically going to be generating 3, and then we need to change this. Go LinkedIn, do this, create a post. Very cool. We got to add credentials and stuff. I'll deal with all that stuff afterwards. I think that's basically good, honestly. And so if you think about it, what we're going to do is 1, 2, 3. We're going to have to do after this, we're going to have to merge all of the outputs of this stuff together. By merging the outputs of all this stuff together, we're going to get stuff that we could put in like a Google Sheet, for instance. Actually, maybe instead of us doing the posting directly in here, we should add them to a queue, hey? Because if you think about it, like, yeah, what are we going to do? Post all 10 posts immediately? No, we should just add them to the queue. So maybe we should do the posting and stuff like that in a different scenario, or a module, or a workflow, I should say. Maybe for now what we do is we just merge all these. Merge all these outputs. We'll do 3 inputs. Thank you kindly. And this is number 3. And now that we're merging these, basically what I'm thinking is we make a database of posts for all these different platforms. And then every day or whatever, just go through and post. That way they'll be relevant to the previous podcast. And that logic is pretty simple to put in place and probably makes the system a lot more valuable, because if you just have a fragile system where you put a form thing in and then it just forces you to post 10 times, I think that'd be kind of dumb. No other way to like verify that the posts will always be different. Yeah, I think this is what people want. Okay, anyway, there's a variety of different ways you could do things here. We could just append. Oh, is it going to have to execute all the previous ones? Right, it will, because we haven't generated the images yet. So let's generate image 3. That one's going to take longer because it's bigger, if you think about it. The other ones were 1024 by 1024. This one was like 17 something. So I think that's like mathematically, it's not like a 1.7 times, it's like a 3 times or something. Just because there's so many more like total pixels in the image. Okay, that's the LinkedIn post generator. Let's see what an example of this appending looks like. We should just get an object with like all of the LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, right? Okay, so the output is we get 3 items. Yeah, I don't like the 3 items being all here, because if you think about it, what am I going to do with these 3 items? I got 1 item here, 1 item here, 1 item here. Well, I don't want 3 items. I just want 1 item as an output. And then I want the 1 item to be like Facebook post, Instagram posts, whatever. And then I can map them a lot easier, right? So I'm pretty sure we're going to have to do the combine. I think I just want to combine all of them. Oh, can I only do 2? I don't know what this last item is here. Yeah, it doesn't look like I can actually do 3, unfortunately. Yeah, sorry, we could just use a set. That'd be way easier. Let's go set here. We're going to take in the previous image. Okay. I'm just going to do it all in JSON. So I'll say image URL. Image URL is going to be right over here. Then right over here in the middle, we'll have the post body. It looks like I'm still outputting an object called Instagram post copy. Ugh, trash. That's not very good. Should probably go back here and then adjust that, eh? Yeah. Oh, you know what? I just left it as Instagram everywhere. My bad. You guys probably all saw that and were like, man, Nick is such a moron. It's true. I am. But the best part of it all is you can make mistakes. Just a little happy accident. Then you can go back here and you can fix it. I think I need to change the LinkedIn object as well, right? Okay, no, I did. All right, anyway, that's my happy accident. Cool. So now that we are editing the fields, what are we going to do? We're going to have this actually be Instagram post copy. So I'm going to feed that in. If you guys aren't sure why I'm doing this, basically I need a way that I could reference this later on. It's going to call Facebook post copy. It's not going to do anything right now, but that's okay. And then here we'll say platform. And here we'll go like Facebook. Okay. So I'm basically remapping stuff here so that I have the copy, the image URL, the post body, and then the platform. So now I'm just going to copy this. Well, I guess I can't copy just yet. I have to copy the whole node. Then right over here, I'm just going to delete this, and then I'll connect this to my edit fields. Then now what I'll have is, I just deactivated that, but it's okay. We're going to go platform LinkedIn. This should say LinkedIn post generator, right? LinkedIn post copy. Doesn't look like I can get that path back to the node because it's under, oh, right. There you go. Okay, so we'll have the image URL, the post body, the platform here. That's good. Let's reactivate that. Then up top, let's copy this, paste this over here, feed this in. And then if you think about it now, what are we going to get? We're going to get the ability to automatically determine in subsequent nodes which platform the data is coming from. So I'm just going to call this set Facebook. And here I'll call this set LinkedIn JSON. And here I'll call this set IG JSON. Okay. So now what's going to happen if we append these together? Oh, I think I need to do one thing. Invalid JSON. Odd. Well, let's do a little bit of debugging. Okay, we're getting invalid JSON because of the new lines. Yeah. So basically what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to remove new lines. So we could just replace all instances. Can we just do new line? Like a regex with a new line or whatever? Or we could just have it not generate any new lines in the initial data. Yeah, that probably makes more sense, right? Like one, it'll be easier. But two, it'll make sure that our source data is as clean as possible. So why don't I go over here and then under rules, we'll say, generate your new lines as \n characters instead of full line breaks. There should be no actual line breaks, only n characters. Cool, this will work 90 whatever % of the time. It's not going to be perfect. Sometimes the model will probably misinterpret it. Maybe 1 out of 100 or something like that. Or maybe 1 out of 1,000, realistically. These models are getting pretty smart, so still. Okay, so now if I go over here and I'm just going to retest this step because I want it to output the thing with the no new line. Let's just see what it looks like. Cool, we do have the new, oh, awesome. All right, we should be good just to test this now. So it's going to run 3 simultaneously, and then it's going to run these, I guess not simultaneously, iteratively, which is nice. So we're going to minimize the likelihood of us calling one of the APIs and then screwing it all up. Then from there, we should be able to do our node. Looks like we were not able to service the request. Why would that be? Could it be an API call? Maybe it got rate limited? Probably got rate limited. Images take way more of your rate limit than anything else. So generally good just to, the second that you have a working thing, pin the response so you just never have to do this again. Also, if you think about it, how much more time is it taking when I do it? It's taking a lot more time. So looks like it had an error while processing my request. Not entirely sure where that error is coming from. It probably is a rate limit. Let's go OpenAI DALL-E 3 rate limits. See how many of these puppies I can generate. Do I have coins or tokens? Can I go DALL-E? Go images, maybe? Let's go per model. Let's just see. DALL-E 3 here. No, I should be good across the board. That's way more images than I need. I could do 10,000 images a minute, right? That's a lot. So I don't know, maybe I'm misformatting the data. Maybe I can't feed new lines in or something like that. Let's see, what is this? A bunny stacking colorful blocks labeled Markdown, CSV, XML, and JSON. No, that looks good to me. Too big? Could be too big. Or it could also just be a service outage. That's how I typically do my debugging. Yeah, it looks like there are some issues recently with Sora. I don't know if those issues extend back to me. Okay, well, let's just try another module or another node then. And let's see if it's the DALL-E or if it's just my current approach with the Facebook node. Because the Facebook node's the only one that's had the issue that I've seen so far. So I'm starting to think, is it the Facebook node or is it just DALL-E in general? The fact that I haven't got an error yet, it's a pretty good sign that it's just the Facebook node. If it is the Facebook node, Just got to ask ourselves why. Okay, no, it's not. It's actually just all of these dollies. Interesting. So I'm not really sure what's going on with the image there. We saw that it was working a moment ago. Unfortunately, when you are working with a microservices economy, there are going to be situations like this with pretty inexplicable errors. Let me think. How do we proceed with this build regardless of the fact that there's some issue with Dolly? Well, I think what we'd probably want to do... Hold on, let me change my API key just before I proceed, really. Just throw it away. What we probably want to do is we probably want to go through the execution history, and then we can just pin the outputs, and that'll allow us to continue regardless of the fact that one of the APIs that we're using might not be working. That's typically what I do. So we just changed my credential. Haven't got an issue yet. Spoke too soon. So what I'm going to do is I will go to my execution history. Let's see the last good execution. Looks like the last good execution was not here. Let's do this one. What is the output of this? Looks like we have JSON that looks like that. So I'm actually just going to copy this, okay? I just want everything. Can I just copy everything? Yeah, that looks good. Now that I have this, why am I doing it? Because I can actually go here. Can I just, oh geez, I don't actually believe I can pin the output of a broken node. Okay, so realistically, what I have to do is delete this, go back here, pin this like this. There you go. Then go over here, pin this like that. Then go over here, pin this like that. Okay. I'm now, believe I could set everything else except for that pinned output. So I've just deleted the entire thing. So I have to go through the whole generation again, unfortunately, but just part and parcel. And now that we will have dealt with that, we could actually merge the outputs and continue. I think when debugging, it's important just to like keep a level head and note that, you know, most of the time it's your fault. You've done something wrong, but there are some situations that are just pretty inexplicable. And I wouldn't allow that to slow down the rest of your build. Like I'm kind of in my head, I'm thinking, there's a probability that this is some inexplicable issue that I have no control over. I could, if you think about it, just stop developing and then be like, well, I'm done with the system. This sucks. I'm not going to work on it and get really frustrated. But I'd rather continue developing a different part of the system. And then I can always circle back to that at the end. I think that's an important principle of just systems in general. If something isn't working, take a breather and then focus on a different section for a little bit. Then you can always double back to that initial section that was causing you problems after you've sorted out the rest of it. Okay, so transcript is currently being pulled. I'm going to go back to YouTube Transcript Ninja. Looks like that will have just wrapped up. Cool, looks like it did. We're now feeding it into OpenAI. The transcript currently being generated. Maybe it's just an OpenAI problem, huh? The entirety of OpenAI is down. That would be pretty rough. Maybe we've been hacked. Got some spyware competitor that's come in and just destroyed the servers. No, they didn't destroy the servers. Okay. All right. What in item 0 contains valid JSON? Exactly. I'm not seeing anything. Looking pretty good to me, my man. So looks like we have some issue here where we do not have valid JSON. JavaScript object notation. Just opening this up here, and this looks right. It's a new line thing again. Why are we getting new lines here? It's not giving me any new lines. Oh, what's this? Do we have a quote? No, we don't have a quote. Odd. All right. Well, I guess I am going to have to replace all. Can we just replace all special cars? No, that doesn't count. Can we replace all? I don't know if I could just do a \n. Could I? Let's see. So uppercase, any occurrences of blue or car. So what do we have to do? I think we had to use the G flag, right? \n. Then could I just go space? Is that going to work? I don't actually know if it's going to work. Probably not. Oh, yeah, it did work. All right. So I just replaced \n with the space. So basically, instead of these new lines, we just have a space. All right, well, that's fine. I guess I'm just going to have to do this for everything. Huh? Oh, well. Glad that you could just throw some stuff at the wall and have it stick, huh? Me too. Okay, so let's do that. Let's do that. Let's do that. So this test is done. Let's just see this test. Oh, and I realize I should probably not be doing this line by line by line. I should probably be doing this all at once. Okay, looks like we got the same issue here. So what's going on now? The fact that we just can't get good JSON is worrying to me. Oh, okay, it's simple. We just didn't have a comma here. Cool, we got that. And then what about over here? Do we not have a comma? No, we have a comma. Awesome. So I'm just going to test the merge node now. We should be good. I mean, we're pinning the outputs of these three, right? So it's just going to skip over this and then set the JSON. It's going to run this, skip over this, set the JSON. Cool. All right, so what does this actually look like in practice? We have three. We have image URL, post body, platform, Instagram. Then we have another one that says platform LinkedIn, another one that says platform Facebook. So now you're probably wondering why the hell are you doing all this? Well, now hopefully it makes sense. Because we have these three items and they all have different types, we can actually match the column based off the type, and then we can add it to a Google Sheet. So I'm going to go Sheets, and I'll go add row to, or append row to sheet. Airtable is actually better to use for stuff like this, just because otherwise rate limits and stuff can be pretty rough. Let's just go new sheet. Over here, what I'm going to do is I'll call this my AI podcast repurposing engine content calendar. Maybe we'll just call this our content. Let's just do that. Okay, and then what am I going to do? Well, if you think about it, we can actually map this, right? With an expression. Yes, we can. Perfect. So now what I'm going to do is inside of my Google Sheet, right, which we've now done this, done that, done that. We haven't done that last part yet, but now I've done this, done this, done this. We're now just combining all these. If you think about it, what I need now is I just want like content. So what I'm going to want is I'm going to need some sort of like date added. Then I'm going to need post body, and then we'll go post image. This isn't going to be perfect because sometimes you're going to have to download the image first, but we can deal with the downloading on some platforms later. And then I'm going to go Facebook. I'm going to add another sheet, which is going to be called Instagram. And then finally, we'll have one called LinkedIn. Okay, we'll paste all these three in. All right, so now, if you think about it, the document that I'm going to do is fine. The document is just going to be this document. So I can actually just grab the ID of the document, which is positioned up here, and then I can just plop that in. The sheet, though, the sheet is what's going to change depending on the platform, okay? So the sheet, if it's Facebook, we'll feed in Facebook. If it's Instagram, we'll feed in Instagram. If it's LinkedIn, we'll feed in LinkedIn. And then it'll automatically find the specific one to do. Now, there are three columns. There's date added, post body, post image. Post body is right over there. Post image is the image URL, okay? And then the date added is just going to be date. So we should just be able to go, can we go $ now? Yeah, I don't really like the way that that's formatted though. So can we format this differently? Let me see. Let's see here. How should we format this? Can we do day, month, year? Or should we go year, month, day? You do that? Oh, the formatting is a lot easier than I thought. Already April 9th, huh? Can we just go DD, I guess? Oh, yeah, we'll just go DD. That looks good. Cool. Yeah, that should be okay. So let's test this now. Oh boy, that's a fat ass transcript. Wrong one. My bad. What did we have there? We had Instagram. Okay, cool. So we just had 3 Instagram posts. And should we have 3 Instagram posts? I don't think we should have 3 Instagram posts. All right, so I feel like some error occurred there, right? Because we should have 3 items, each with their different platforms. But what ended up happening? Looks like we fed all of these just to Instagram. So this is Instagram right now, but it should be dynamic, right? It should change depending on what we are putting in. Well, that's annoying. All right, so slight issue with the recording there. What ended up happening was, for whatever reason, when I was pumping the data through that dynamic remapping flow with the merge, it just didn't work. I think it has to do with the underlying way that the N8N node functions. So anyway, completely unrelated issue, but my recording just stopped, so I had to restart this. But basically what I ended up doing was I just hard-coded the logic in the sheets. So if I go to the first sheet for Instagram, so you can see here, it is hard-coding the sheet of Instagram. Okay. If I go to the second one here for LinkedIn, it's hard coding the sheet for LinkedIn. And for the third, if I do Facebook, then it's hard coding the sheet for Facebook. Is this the most elegant solution? No, not really. I'm kind of annoyed that I have to do this, to be honest, but it is what it is. And I don't really care too much about the elegance of a solution. I care more about just like whether or not it works. So testing this now, going to my sheet, which is over here. If I go to the Facebook post, as you see that one populated, and then Instagram and LinkedIn, because this is happening sequentially, not all at once, we got to wait a little bit. LinkedIn there. Then finally Instagram over here. And yeah, this is more or less how I went through and I solved the flow. And then at the end here, let me just recreate this for you guys. Now that I'm done it, I want some sort of user input. I want some sort of, experience where the person that submitted the form knows that the form is good to go, right? So in N8N, you can actually add this over here as a form ending. So you can actually generate a form ending. You can say, congratulations, your content has been produced. Then I'll say, check your content calendar for the specific posts. Then maybe I'll even link the content calendar here. You can imagine a client experience that'd be a lot simpler and easier for them to see. Okay, cool. So yeah, that's the flow in a nutshell. The thing is, this is just the first part of the flow. He was like, are you serious, Nick? You're an hour and it's the first part of your flow. Yeah, but the second part of the flow is really simple. We just actually do the posting. So now that we have like our asset, which is basically just a list of posts, what we have to do is we just need some sort of logic that checks all of these once per day. Then it basically sees, hey, has this thing been posted yet? So I've added a posted on column to double check for that. Then if it hasn't been posted yet, it'll just go and it'll add a posted on column. It'll say, hey, this was added on the 9th, posted on the 10th. Then if you think about it, if we have a bunch of these and, we have some columns that say 9th, 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 but then this one's empty. What we're going to do is we're just going to filter to only look for the ones with empty. And then those are the ones that we're going to fill in the next day and actually go through and post. So in this way, we're going to have like a dynamic tracker, basically. That doesn't make much sense to you right now. Don't sweat it too much. Let's actually go ahead and let's just build out the second half of this. Okay, so I'm going to click back to my home, and then I'm going to add AI Content Repurposing Engine 2. Just change the title to 2. Now, what do I need to be the start of this? Well, if you think about it, I'm probably just going to do a test for now. Well, actually, I should do a schedule trigger. Let's just run this once every day, okay? Do I want to post this at midnight? Probably not. Let's do 7 a.m. or something at minute 0. So we get a bunch of data in here, okay? Which is nice. And then that supposedly is going to initiate our flow. What do we do next? Let me just pin this. What do we do next? Well, now we got to look through the Google Sheet. So we got to filter, then we got to post a bunch. And so the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to get rows in sheet. Okay, so I'm going to connect my credential. What is the document I'm going to be using? Well, AI podcast repurposing calendar. Now we have 3. We have Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook, okay? So I'm just going to go the first. The filter I'm looking for, if you think about it, is I want to see if this column posted on is empty. If this is empty, then I want to return the value, okay? So let's just test this really quickly. Doing a call, we've returned 1 because posted on is empty. But what if I said X? Is posted on X? If I click test, I'll say, oh, no output data is returned because there's no content with posted on equal to X. So I just verified that my filter worked right there, right? Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Okay, now another thing we have to think about is, well, we've just done that once with the Instagram stuff, but we're gonna have to do this again with the Facebook and LinkedIn as well. So I'll say check Instagram posts. This one will be check LinkedIn posts. This last one here will be check Facebook posts. And here, this one has to be LinkedIn. Here, this one has to be Facebook. The column logic should be the same for each. So let me just make sure posted on, good. This one should be posted on. Yeah, good. Okay, so now that we have this, we have everything that we need in order to go and do the posting. So if you think about it, what we're gonna have to do now is we're gonna have to implement posting logic. Post on Instagram, post on LinkedIn, post on Facebook. Simplest way is obviously 1x per day, but you can change this to be whatever you want. That's what I get for not using my pen. And then after the post, what are we gonna do? We're just going to mark it as done inside of our Instagram post, and then LinkedIn post, and then Facebook post, Google Sheets. And then at the end, I'm probably just gonna merge them together again. And then that's it. So the question is, how do we actually go about posting on these platforms? And that's a great question. Let's go through and let's figure this out. Okay, so I just did a bunch of authentication. Now this authentication in N8N is non-trivial. It is honestly pretty involved to get through. Let me walk you guys through what I did. I just don't obviously have the ability to share all my access tokens and stuff like that, but I'll still run you guys through what I did and walk you guys through the workflow. So essentially, I mentioned earlier we have that schedule trigger, right? We're just checking the Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook posts. And then we sort of have 3 routes here. The first is Instagram. And so the way that the Instagram route works is what we need to do first is connect to a graph account. The graph account is just the way that Facebook deals with all of their API calls. I'll talk about that specifically, but first, if you guys wanted to set this up alongside me, if you guys didn't have the template, which you guys can obviously get in Maker School, you would have to go through the following. The host URL would just be default. HTTP request method would be post. Graph API version would be 17. The node would depend on your Facebook or your Instagram account ID. I'll cover that in a moment. The edge would be media. I set ignore SSL issues to false. Then underneath this, we'd have 2 options. There'd be a caption option with the body of the post. There'd be an image URL option, which I actually just hard-coded here as like a, I don't know, a silly image just because I wanted to test it out a couple of times in my account to make sure that it worked first. But I can actually go through it and I can fix it afterwards. Okay, great. So yeah, that's all of the stuff that you need. The node, the way you get that is you go to business.facebook.com. Obviously, I'm posting this on a business account. Then you go down to settings. And then what we have to do is go to Instagram accounts. Right next to Instagram accounts, you have the ID of the Instagram. Okay, so that's where you would go. That's the very first place that you would go to get the ID of the node. And yeah, just make sure the edge is media and so on and so forth. To actually connect this to a graph account, to actually create a credentials, as I mentioned, quite an involved process. What you have to do, if I go to the documentation here, so you have to first make a meta app with the products that you need to access. And my recommendation is just do all products, okay? So I'm just going to open up a bunch of tabs here as N8N guides me. What I ended up doing was I made one called nick_survive_N8N_post_machine, but I'm just going to create a new one here just to show you guys where it's at. This is where your, I don't know, app name is going to be. Then your use cases, what I do is I just do other. And then it'll ask which business specifically you want to work with. I have no idea why it's in Spanish, but it's in Spanish. And then your app name, and then the app contact email, and then your business portfolio. You would just select the business portfolio that has access to all the other stuff. Now, I mean, I'm pretty good at all this stuff, and the way that Meta and Facebook does all of their different business portfolios and ad accounts and ad managers and stuff, that's still like really, really crazy to me. And, you know, I'm somebody that works with technology like this on a daily basis. So don't feel out of the loop or don't feel incapable if you guys don't know what that means. It took me a very long time to figure this out, an embarrassingly long time, I should say. I'm authenticated through SMS, so I just had to get myself a text message, and I just confirm this. After you're done with this, you will have an app. It's going to take a second, and they're going to verify the hell out of you. Okay, great. So once you're done with that, you need to, so I'm going to set up both Facebook and Instagram at the same time, but then you need to set up, obviously, the Instagram. So click setup here. Oh, sorry. Before we do all this, actually, we need to do 2 things. Go over to app settings basic. Then what you need to do is you need to enter a privacy policy. So I just entered this as my privacy policy. Okay, so that's number 1. Next, go to tools, then go to Graph API Explorer. Then what you need to do, okay, is you need to go to the specific app that you just did. So in my case, N8N access. Then under permissions, you have to go to other. I mean, I just added all of the permissions. I think you would be smarter than me and maybe just add the ones that are specific to Instagram. But the way that I typically do these things is I just scroll through and then I find anything related to Facebook or Instagram, and then I click OK. So as you see here, this very helpful bright red bubble is assisting me. I don't do any of that, and I don't do any of that. Okay. So now once I have all these, then you click this generate access token button. You're going to have to sign in to your account again. You can opt into the current applications. So I'm just going to do all of them. I'm going to do all of them. I'm going to do all of them. I'm going to do all of them. Then the application that you just created is going to request essentially access to your account. Once you have that, you will have your access token up here. Then you're also going to have a bunch of Instagram permissions. So access token is what you want to copy, okay? And that's what you go and paste in here, that access token. This is that big, fat, beautiful access token. And I just realized this probably isn't going to work now because I have a bunch of different settings with my other access tokens. So I'm actually going to go back and I'm going to put in my previous access token. Where am I here? Let's go back to this one. I'm going to just copy that, go back here, and then paste that in. Let's save that. Okay. Anyway, once you have the access token for the specific thing you want, so in my case, oops, I'm doing it again. That says N8N access. Go back to developers.facebook.com/apps, and then go back here to the main app. For whatever reason, it duplicates your apps if you add a portfolio like I did. Then down where it says Instagram, you can go to settings. And then where it says API setup with Instagram login, this is when you would add your Instagram account. We've now just given it access to everything. I'm still getting insufficient developer role. Why is that? Not entirely sure. It might be because of this. Yeah, so you need to make it live, then you click allow. The app will now have access to your Instagram. Beautiful. And once that's done, you just take that GraphQL or Graph API token, access token, I should say, feed it in here, connect it, then you're good to go. Okay. So after that, what you do is you feed in the post body and then you feed in the image URL, as I mentioned earlier. Now, I'm actually going to fix this right now. So I'm just going to test this, pull some Instagram posts. Okay. Now, as you can see, we have the image URL, which I will feed in right over here. Let me just make sure I can actually see this. No, we can't. Right. The reason why is because OpenAI will automatically time these out after a while. So I can't actually see that image, which is unfortunate. What we need to do is we need to download it and upload it again. Okay, so I'm just running the new image generator just so that I have access to all of the new images. Otherwise, OpenAI will time out the images if you haven't opened them or accessed them in a while. Looking pretty good to me. And it looks like now this is working as opposed to before where it wasn't. So that's just a good example. Focus on solving the problems that you can solve at the time of the development. I just went and took my attention elsewhere, and then whatever problem that the API had is now resolved. Okay, so now we're adding stuff to the sheet. There's the Instagram one, LinkedIn one, and the Facebook one. Let's just access the image here. Ooh, look at that. That's really interesting. Fascinating. Here's the post image. Thank you, rabbit. Here is the other post image. Wow, that rabbit is having a go. I really like that. That's cute as hell. Little tongue is out. Okay, great. So now we've added that to the sheet. So now if we go over here to the other scenario, what do I want to do? I just wanted to test this. So I'm just going to test the Instagram post, pull in the new Instagram post here. Looks like we got that one post image. Beautiful. Let's now upload that one to the Instagram. So we just feed in post image here to image URL. There we go. Oops. So do not delete the image URL. That's not what you want to do. All right. Should be good. I'm going to test this step. It's now executing the node, meaning it's uploading. And what happens? It returns an ID. What does the ID do? The ID is actually what allows you to take something that you uploaded and then post it afterwards, okay? Now on the post on IG node, what you need to do is you need to reference the specific page that you're using, okay, which is 1784144. That's the data that we got previously. And then, yeah, the rest of these settings, I'll just leave you guys here to take them. But the main one in consideration is creation_ID, where you paste in this ID here. So I'm going to post this. We're going to get good output, which is nice. I guess I need to go to that, right? Yeah. Let's view this on Instagram now. So I just posted my little bunny rabbit live. Be the first to like this. I'm just going to delete it because that's on my actual account. But hopefully you guys can see what that flow looks like from start to finish. Pretty easy, lemon squeezy. Then we're going to check the LinkedIn posts, HTTP request, and then publish to LinkedIn. Now you're probably wondering, why do you have to do that? Well, the reason why you need to do this in the LinkedIn route is because LinkedIn actually needs the image file itself. So let me test the LinkedIn right now. So I'm gonna click test. It's not enough to get the URL like we had before, okay? What we need to do is we actually need to get the image file. Now, just because I don't want to go through a bunch of annoying stuff, what I'm doing is I'm just getting the image file from post image right over here, no authentication. I click test step. Now it's actually going to go and it's going to re-download the image. So I know it's a fair amount of bandwidth going back and forth, but now the image is in N8N. Then the LinkedIn module works pretty easily. All you need to do to create a connection is you just click on this button. And then if you wanted to create a new one, let me create a new one. Just go to standard and then click connect to my account. It'll actually just log into your LinkedIn for you, okay? So you just accept that LinkedIn and then you're good to go. So I'm just going to close this and go back to my first account, which I think was this one, hopefully. And then the resource is post, operations create, post is organization. The organization URN, this is interesting, but basically if you go to your LinkedIn account and then you go to the pages that you have control over, right over here, give that a click. The URN is going to be the ID of the page, basically. See that up there? That's what you're going to want to paste down here. The text, in my case, is just the post body, the image category here, and then the input binary field will just automatically pull from the previous one. So if I now map this to my LinkedIn, if I drag this over here, you'll see I now get a URN li share. So if I then refresh this, I will have my little bunny rabbit having been posted with my content, which is cool. Alrighty. And then what's that last one here? The last one is the Facebook route. So let's test this out. So I'm just going to pull all the data. I have the post image as per usual. If I want to publish this to Facebook, same flow that I had before. Okay, we connect the Facebook graph account, but here are the details. Instead of the node ID, so first of all, HTTP request is method, graph API version is 17, the node is me instead of the node. And then edge is photos. This is false, message, post body, then post image, okay? When I post this, what's going to happen is it'll go on my Facebook account. It'll go and it'll create the post ID. So where the heck is that Facebook account? I don't really want that to be posting. So view this on Facebook. See that new little bunny post I made? And then, how do I actually get rid of that? That is the question. Think of all my fans. They're going to see the bunny. They're going to be like, Nick, what the hell is this bunny all about? All right, we just click on this and then should be able to delete it. I think it's, yeah, there you go. Cool. So I've just proven that this works, essentially. Feel free to trust me. What's better than trusting me is actually going out there and doing it. Now that we publish in all three, what do we want to do? Well, if you think about it, we now want to update that last record that we just got. And then we want to just write post it on. And then we want to have that date. Since we're doing this once per day, what I'm going to do is the operation is going to be update a row. This one here. The one we are going to update, column that we're going to match on is going to be, let's do post image. I'm going to do, so I'll go back to check Facebook post, and I'm just going to match the post image to the same post image that we had. And the only difference I'm going to do here, everything else will be the same. Okay. Only thing that I'm going to actually meaningfully change is post it on. So I'm just going to map the rest of these fields in. And what I'm going to do is I'm only going to update a post it on so that it doesn't show up in the next search. So how do I do that? I'm just going to go back to the formula where I got the exact formula for post it on. There you go. Change that to an expression. All right. And then instead of check Facebook post, this is update Google Sheets DB. Okay. Oh, I should probably do that one more thing here. I should call it Facebook. There we go. All right. So that's the Facebook one. We'll go over here now, connect this to the LinkedIn one. We got to change this to LI. And all of this data is going to be different as well. I'll change that in a sec. I really like being able to quickly and easily map this stuff out by copying and pasting it. So just now going to move this to Instagram. Then I just want to rename this to Instagram. Cool. And I basically just have to go, unfortunately I have to go through this, this rigmarole again. So let's test this. Let's pull that out over here. Yeah, I can't, actually need to execute the previous node. It's kind of annoying, whatever. Let's give it a try. Looks like all my LinkedIn fans are going to have to wait. All right. Post image was right over here. Date added was right over here. One more time. Then post body was right over here. looks good. And then post it on format looks good. That's fine. And then let's test this now. Should update. Good. For this one, just test everything first. This is going to error out, but it's okay. I'm going to get the Facebook post. Then we can now update the post image. One thing I don't like about an indents interface is that the expression field covers the subsequent field that you're working on, which is unfortunate. Anyway, give that a go. Cool. And then this one here, I've already verified that works, I believe. Cool. And then now, if you think about it, if we go back to our Google Sheet, we now have a fully kind of like self-annealing system. The system just checks to see when the posted on date was last, and then it'll just go through once a morning and check to see which one to post next. So you can generate 10 new AI podcast posts, and then you can go through and just check these off one by one automatically, which is pretty neat. All right, hopefully you guys appreciated that video. Had a lot of fun putting it together. This is a super simple and straightforward system to sell. I mean, there were a couple of gotchas as you guys saw, but nothing that was out of the ordinary. As long as you guys remain calm while doing those bug fixes and kind of approach everything from a first principles perspective, it's never really too bad. If you guys have any questions about this, feel free to drop them down below. If you guys have any suggestions for other systems you want me to do, then do that as well. Please check out Maker School. We just hit 1,700 members. This is my 0 to 1 roadmap to get you started with building and then selling systems, just like I showed you in this video, to real live customers. Price goes up every 100 members, and we're currently the biggest and largest by revenue automation community out there. I mean, if you guys already have an established business, you guys want to scale it up even further, then definitely swing by Make Money with Make. This is my premier automation community where I show you guys how to take something that's working and then scale it. Thank you very much for all of the support. Really appreciate everybody that makes it this far in the video. Have a lovely rest of the day, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow.